didn't devote a career to really making that a thing. So I guess what I would say is that there needs to be a base level of knowledge. I need to know a little bit about what the firefighters are doing. I need to know a little bit what law enforcement is doing, but we all have such unique roles, and the responsibilities and the demands have only risen over the years. I mean, the education for every one of those branches has astronomically risen over the last 20, 30 years. 35 years ago, a paramedic was an advanced first aid course in an ambulance in a hearse. Well, maybe a little bit more than 35 years, but close to that.
Mm.
So what we're doing has expanded substantially, and similar to, I don't think it's fair to have volunteer first responders, having this crazy education they have to do every 2 years. We have to figure out a way to bridge that gap and make sure that everybody has the specialized care they need. So, kind of a convoluted, long-winded answer to your question.
I know. I give a lot of them the same versions and questions, so don't worry about that. No, as I was looking through your amazing videos and stuff and that, I was like, he's done a lot. He's done the sort of the whole genre, shall we say? And I'm sort of really interested in your sort of taking it because you don't often see somebody that's done, paramedics, police, etc. It's usually somebody that's specialised in a particular area, and it kind of just intrigued me, like what changes you do. And I like that idea because I come from an area where it was, you'd have a retained firefighter, you'd have like a paramedic who'd done a couple of courses, like a part-time, like a medical student. It was whoever kind of fitted into these roles. So you'd have the same person doing kind of different things. And I really like that idea of like having specialists. You have people that say, oh, you should be a good all-rounder, but not really nowadays in society today, especially if you want to become like at the top elite level. Now, I assume you go into like a lot of really dangerous situations. How are you taught on how would you advise us to approach a situation like a car accident or any kind of particular issue? How do we avoid becoming a bit another casualty? What's a good way of assessing the situation for red flags, etc.?
You know, there's not one good way. I think that the best way to avoid danger to yourself, and I want to preface everything by saying, like, yes, there are like inherently dangerous situations we go into, but we do our best to make them safe, and you can do dangerous things in a safe manner. And I think that's kind of the key here. But one of the big tenets of EMS is scene safety. And, for a long time, that meant that we, EMS, would not go into a scene if the scene wasn't safe. And that paradigm has been shifting since Columbine, essentially, since that mass shooting occurred, because you can't just sit outside. You can't be a passive bystander. You have to be
Mhm.
able to enter these dangerous situations and render care. It's literally your job as a first responder. So that being said, we're not entering in needlessly. What I have found the best way to kind of mitigate risks is to stop, take a breath, and look around. Because when you have that car accident on the highway and you look across that highway and you see that car is mangled and you see somebody's femur bone sticking out of the front seat and you see blood everywhere, and something, maybe there's a car seat in the back seat, and all you think, you zero into that, and you're thinking, I need to get over
Mhm.
there, I need to do something. And this still happens to me, this happens to first responders all over the place. You get so zoned in. And if I was to just zombie walk over to that car and start treatment, which is what needs to happen eventually,